Hi guys, welcome to my channel, Kel Stitches. I am Kelly, and today I am going to be doing a flick through of Emma Condon's book Cross Stitch for the Soul. This was produced in 2020, and I know a lot of people probably already have it, but for those of you that don't have it, I am just going to flip through and show you the designs and that in this one. I do have the other two books, Cross Stitch for the Heart and Cross Stitch for the Earth. I will do a flip through of those as well, and that way we can I can just post them when I want to, as I will do them separately. So today we are doing Cross Stitch for the Soul. Might just lift that up a little bit. I'm sorry if you can hear the fan in the background. I am in my bedroom, and it is still currently, I think it's like 27 degrees or something like that. Yes, it's still 27 degrees. So this other weather app's useless. Alright, so here is the index page of the book. It shows you all of the patterns that we will find in it. They don't have names. She hasn't named them at all. So they're just like, it just goes design 1, 2, 3 and tells you the pages. And as you can see, I do have tags already on the ones that I want to stitch. So here we have a title page, and it says, "Welcome to Cross Stitch for the Soul. Hand embroidery in all of its forms is a beautifully calming and mindful occupation. It is a million miles away from the fast-paced and stressful lives many of us lead in today's busy world. I rediscovered cross stitch as an adult as a bit of an escape and found it to be wonderfully meditative, a chance to embrace slowness and create something beautiful at the same time. As someone who has experienced anxiety and depression, I found the ability to switch off and stitch was hugely welcome." The 20 designs in this collection are quotes that resonate with me for many reasons, and which I have brought to life in cross stitch in my own colourful, topographic way. I hope they bring you joy, both through the stitching process and in whatever you choose to do with them once complete. Be it gifting, hanging on your wall, or keeping somewhere special for days when you just need a bit of a boost. Emma. So there is some of the designs that we will find in this book as well. And then we turn over to the tools and materials page. So it tells you the fabrics, the different styles. So you've got Aida, Fiddler's Cloth, Hardanger, Linen, Jobelan. And then it tells you threads, scissors, needles and frames. And most of us that have stitched know all this stuff anyway. So let's go on to the first design. So it says, "Start each day with a grateful heart." Now this is one that I have marked, and it is only, the stitch count is only 129 by 96. So it's only going on 14 count Aida. It is only going to be just over 9 inches by just under 7 inches, so not very big. And it says, "At times it's easy to feel dissatisfied with our lives. We focus on what we haven't achieved rather than what we have. However, positive affirmations are known to help break this negative thinking. Start with gratitude for the things you have and set yourself up in a positive way for a new day and all the possibilities it brings with it." So that is a lovely little one. One thing I have noticed with all of Emma's, well anyway in these books, is most of them aren't very big stitch like patterns. They haven't got a very big stitch count. I think the biggest might be like 200 stitches one way, so they're not very big. They can be easily done. Some are very full coverage and some aren't, so Yeah, and it suggests ivory or Aida or linen for this one. Alright, let's go on to design 2. And it says, be not afraid of going slowly, be afraid only of standing still. And it is a Chinese proverb. And this one, the stitch count is 117 by 186. And it also calls for ivory, Aida or linen. And that says the worst thing in life is to have regrets. Not doing things for fear of doing them at a slower pace than others can sometimes mean you put them off, often forever, and you miss out. But everything has to start somewhere, and if you don't try, it'll never happen. So don't be afraid to give it a go. Now I am skipping pages in between because obviously the patterns are there and I don't want to show the patterns. Alright, so number 3 is bloom where you are planted. This one, the stitch count is 129 by 96 and it calls for clay or celadon, green, Aida or linen. So you can probably maybe see there that, get the glare off it, that it is on a very light greenish colour linen. Life can throw you into unexpected situations that you could never have imagined or planned for, but that can be one of the most beautiful things about it. It's important, however, that you always embrace life around you rather than yearning for something else. Have dreams and goals, of course, but don't let them overwhelm your ability to enjoy and flourish where you are. So that is another one that I have marked for myself to stitch eventually. Next one, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. And this one is a stitch count of 98 by 130 and it calls for antique white Aida or linen. So as I said, they are not very big patterns at all. Life would just be dull if we were only handed the sweetest things. That's why it throws this bitter tasting lemony curveball every so often, or even worse, a raw onion or two. This saying is a great metaphor for how sour life situations can be made sweet with a bit of practice and creativity, not to mention a good bit of elbow grease. Next one, a smooth sea never made a skillful sailor. Stitch count is 131 by 199 and it calls for light grey Aida or linen. Full of metaphors for life, the sea can be blissfully calm one moment, then terrifying and dangerous the next. It's ever-changing. We adapt and learn to be best equipped to face the toughest daily challenges, to know what sails to hoist to get through it in one piece and hopefully avoid the sharks. It's what helps you to appreciate life when the sun shines again and the water is calm. Okay, every day may not be good, but there is some good in every day. Stitch count is 130 by 198 and it calls for antique white Aida or linen. On some days everything just seems to go wrong. You miss the bus, you get caught in the rain, you drop your phone. However, even in these trying times, there will be good things, I promise. They just might be harder to spot. If you look hard enough, you'll be able to notice and appreciate them and put a positive spin on every day. Believe in yourself. Now, that is something that we all really have to do, is believe in ourselves. And this is just a small one. So the stitch count is 89 by 95 and it calls for a light blue Aida or linen. So this would be a good one to use up them small scraps of fabric that after you've cut for a bigger piece, you know, you have those little scraps, you don't know what you're going to do with them. This would be a good one to actually use those scraps up. I always put them to the side. I mark them with the stitch count that they are, and I always put them to the side and have them in a separate bag so I can use them for smaller patterns. Social pressures, advertising and social media make it difficult for us to be content with both our internal and external selves. There's always someone skinnier, richer or more successful to make us think less of ourselves. But wishing for a life that isn't your own is wasting the time that you have. We're all different. Be proud of yourself for whatever you bring to the table. And that is true. We all have our own skill sets that we can offer to anyone at any time. Next one. No act of kindness, however small, is ever wasted. This one, the stitch count is 100 by 124, and it calls for a platinum Aida or linen. And a lot of these you can either frame them in a small hoop, or you'd easily find frames that from your local box stores, so whether it be Spotlight, Lincraft, Walmart, Joann's, anywhere like that that sells frames, you'd easily find frames big enough or small enough to fit any of these. Being friendly, generous and considerate towards others, it's just kind. A good deed means you're not only helping someone in need, you're also giving yourself a boost knowing that you've done something selfless. It doesn't matter how big or small the gesture is, it'll give you a wonderfully rewarding feeling and put a spring in your step. When it rains, look for rainbows. When it's dark, look for stars. Now, I have seen this one stitched up. Can't remember who it was that actually stitched it, but it does look really good. And they didn't do it on the white. They done it on a different colour. Was it a... no, it couldn't have been a purple. They done it on maybe a black. I can't remember, but it did look really good. The stitch count for this is 128 by 189, and it calls for white Aida or linen. Nature is amazing and a great source of inspiration for me. I find it magical that something so seemingly dreary as rain can produce something as beautiful as a rainbow. The same is true of the night sky. If you can escape the city, look up and appreciate the stars that aren't visible unless the sky is sufficiently dark. Finding the best in bad situations isn't easy, but worth it. A good companion shortens the longest road. This one, the stitch count is 96 by 129, and it calls for parchment Aida or linen. You find that the challenging things in life feel less extreme when you're not facing them alone, whether it's just taking the dog on a really strenuous walk or supporting a loved one through an illness. Being with ones you love in difficult situations can help you to get through them. So keep talking, keep supporting, and keep walking together. Good things come to those who wait. The best come to those who do. Stitch count is 129 by 196, and it calls for a navy Aida or linen. But you could do it on, I reckon you could do it on a dark purple or a black or something like that, something that's not going to make those colours wash out. It'd have to be, I mean, you could even just do it on white, I reckon. But yeah, definitely a dark, I reckon a dark purple would look really nice, or even a dark grey. Certainly, patience is a good thing to have, but the most inspirational people throughout history are always known for going one step further and really pushing themselves. Actively pursuing your personal goals can be a tremendous boost to happiness. Even if you live a good life, if there is something you've always wanted to try, don't hesitate to do it. Always be yourself, because the people that matter don't mind, and the ones that mind don't matter. And that is something that I think you learn as you get older. You start to realise that people don't, the ones that don't care about your little quirks and that are the ones that really do love you. Stitch count 126 by 194. It calls for white Aida or linen. And pretending to be someone you're not to please others can be exhausting and ultimately draining. We're all unique and have our own special gifts to give to the world. So you should never be ashamed of who you are. Those who want to be with the real you and make you feel proud of who you are will always agree. Cut that bit out. The best view comes after the hardest climb. Stitch count is 97 by 96 and it calls for white Aida or linen. Hiking is much like life. There can be peaks and troughs and it can seem perilous at times, but once you've got to the top, you get a huge sense of achievement, whatever the incline. Keep taking the next step to get to your destination. You'll get there. You can proudly look back at how far you've come and appreciate that as much as the view itself. Love all, trust a few, do wrong to none. Stitch count is 130 by 198. It calls for antique white Aida or linen. The bard knew his stuff. These words say it like it is. It's difficult to love the person who stole or broke something precious to you, especially your heart. But holding on to bad feelings about anyone ultimately hurts you more than it hurts them. Accept people for who they are. Understand and be compassionate towards those who you don't know, and treat people the way you like to be treated yourself. Do what makes you happy. And for most of us, that is our stitching for sure. Stitch count is 97 by 94 and it calls for navy Aida or linen. Obvious to some perhaps, but it's very easy to slip into situations in work and life that are convenient but that don't bring you joy. Sadly, not all jobs are fun, but it's about getting balance. Try always to have things in your life that you enjoy. Dig out that old guitar, that tennis racket, those tap shoes, and your cross-stitch supplies, obviously, and do something you love. There are always flowers for those who want to see them. Stitch count is 132 by 186. It calls for ivory or platinum Aida or linen. Every situation in life can be interpreted differently. If you seek the bad, you will inevitably find it. This quote by artist Henry Matisse reminds us that it's important to have a positive mindset and be open to good things, even when situations may not be promising. You never know what you'll miss if you're not looking for it. Do small things with great love. Stitch count is 97 by 97, calls for ivory Aida or linen. This timeless quote by Mother Teresa reminds us that even though not all of us have the power to do great things, it's so rewarding doing the small things with all of our heart and passion. Only you know what makes you truly feel happy and content. Whether it's making a birthday cake for a loved one or taking the dog for a walk, these little tasks can bring immense pleasure. Worry does not take away tomorrow's troubles, it takes away today's peace. Stitch count is 130 by 194 and it calls for white Aida or linen. We're programmed to worry. This hardwired ability has kept our species alive for thousands of years, but it's not always beneficial to us in today's world. We can waste vast amounts of time stressing over things that may never happen. Focus on the here and now in order to better enjoy today. The best is yet to come. Stitch count is 98 by 97 and it calls for antique white Aida or linen. I like to believe that the future isn't predetermined and that ultimately no one knows what cards they'll be dealt. However, I can guarantee that to worry or think anything other than positively about the future takes away from the enjoyment of today. This quote is a good one to remember if you're going through a tough patch and not feeling at your best. It serves as a reminder to hope for better days ahead. It always seems impossible until it is done. Stitch count is 98 by 128. It calls for navy Aida or linen. These famous words from Nelson Mandela remind us that unless we attempt challenging things, they'll never be achieved. Even in the most difficult situations and circumstances, amazing things can happen. It tells us a lot about the resilience of the extraordinary man, so keep faith in yourself and never give up, even if you're told it's not possible. And that is all of the patterns. Then it goes into techniques, so preparing your fabric, cross stitch, telling you how to do your stitches, how to do your back stitch, explains your stitch count and design size, and then it gives you a few points or tells you how to follow your charts, how to clean and how to frame. Then in the back it does have a conversion from DMC to Anchor. That's because all the patterns use DMC thread. And then it just tells you a little bit about the author, the acknowledgement, the index, and then over the back it's just got your publishing stuff, and that's the back of the book. So that is cross stitch for the soul. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this little flick through of this book, and then I will do the other two. I do know that she does have a fourth book out. I'm in two minds about getting it. It is called Catitude. So it's like 20 designs are designed around cats and stuff like that. So I don't know if I will get it. I'm not sure. I don't know if I'll get it just to have it, or if I'll get it to just to have it, or if I'll ever stitch any of the designs in it. But anyway guys, thank you very much if you watched this video. It is very much appreciated, and I will see you all next time. Bye.